Hello Glenn, this is Eureka Minion specialty grinder here, and I'll give my demo on this grinder. And again, you can transfer all this knowledge, all this information to your grinder and it will work. I'm confident on that. So because the Boss company are actually family companies like a Honda and Acura, so they have similar internal structure. I also checked the part diagram for this machine to make sure that internals are same. There are a few external differences. For example, one is the adjustment knob here. This one works with point of reference. So basically you have to remember the last unit before you make changes if you want to go back there. But in your grinder, there is a number on the bottom side of this knob, and which helps you to see the actual numbers. And the second difference is in the screen. In your one, you have a giant circular display here, and this one is a small square, but functionalities are even the same as your grinder. I'll show you. For example, you can make increments or decrements 0.1 a second. It's the same in your grinder. It has double and single and double options. You can set time for each of them. I'm not sure your grinder has this feature, but lastly, for example, if you press the Boss button, it will switch to manual grinding mode. So it will continuously grind until you until you push it back. But if you set time, you'll press this, it will stop when it's done. But it's the same in your grinder. So if you press these two buttons at the same time, it will switch to manual grinding mode. Okay, so first I'll speak about the jamming. How can you resolve that jamming issue? I assume your grinder already jammed, and if that's the case, we have to unjam it first, clean it, and then I'll show you how you need to set how can you set the 0 point, calibrate to 0 point. Okay, before we start, let me quickly explain what's the jamming. So on Eureka grinders and in your grinder, again, the same internal, when you rotate that knob, it changes the distance between the burrs by moving the lower one. So the top burr is stationary, it doesn't move. The lower one goes up and down, depending on which direction you rotate it. For example, if you rotate it to clockwise direction, like this, it will move the bottom one upper direction, and this is kind of how you control the distance between the burrs. So why jamming happens? It's because sometimes the bottom one, the burr, if there is too much coffee inside the burrs, between the burrs, sometimes the motor struggle to overcome that friction, that static friction. So in that case, we need to go coarser direction to give some space to burrs. In that way, it will easily grind everything between the burrs. So this is what we will do here. So before you start, please plug the grinder, close this cap here, make sure that the hopper doesn't feed the grinder during the grinding process. Once we close it, we cut the connection between hopper and grinder. And next step, I want please go to coarser direction by rotating counterclockwise. And then press one of this button, or you can switch again manual grinding mode by pressing the two buttons on the bottom of the screen and start the grinder. For example, let's say grinder jammed, you went to coarser direction, you closed it, went to coarser direction, pressed it, still there is no, nothing happens. So what can you do? You can go a little bit further. So you can also a little bit shake the grinder like this, tilt it. It helps that, because the coffee sometimes compacts there, so you can kind of break it. And if you try a few times like this, I'm sure that everything between the burrs will go out, and then it will be clean. Inside of that burrs will be clean. And before moving to, this is about the jamming process. How can you clean the grinder, unstuck the burrs when the jamming happens? And before moving that zero calibration, I want to give you a few tips in order to minimize that jamming possibility. So one mistake the users do most of the time is, let's say there is a coffee, you can make some coffee, but suddenly you decide to make coffee size finer. let's say you were making the coffee for the drip coffee and now you want to switch to espresso. So for drip coffee, obviously you need some higher numbers, you need more distance between the bursts to get coarser product. But for espresso, you need fine espresso. So what you do, while grind is idle position, it doesn't work, not you, sorry, but the user, go to finer direction without running the burst. So what happens, between the bursts, there are still some coffee residues between them. So when you go to finer direction, the lower one goes up and coffee between the bursts stuck. And what happens, it increases the friction significantly, so motor cannot give that initial rotation. So therefore, motors struggle in this case. So that's why we always recommend the customers for Eureka or your grinders, if you want to switch the finer direction too far, close it, dispense the coffee inside between the bursts, and then go to desired size, and then you can open and start your grinding session. Or you can start the grinder and while burrs are rotating, you can safely go the size you want. But in that case, there is a chance that you can grind extra beans from the hopper. So in order to minimize that waste, so you can close it, save your coffee here, grind the coffee between them. So this is the general approach. You can also perform that technique on DF grinders, on other grinders. The idea is the same. If grinder is jammed, you need to close it, don't feed it, close the cap, give some space, run the grinder until it's free. And yeah, another way you can, for example, search online. People sometimes open the grinder, remove the top burr out, clean it, and then in order to unstuck it. This is also another approach you can perform, but this approach will save you time. You don't need to perform it every time. And another thing, it's not good idea to open and close the burrs multiple times. So it's because when you close them, you have to apply same torque for each screw in order to align them horizontally. If you do it wrong way, let's say you put the lower one is in the horizontal anyway, so upper one you put it, you don't apply too much torque, for example one of them, so it will stay tilted. Humanly it's impossible to understand that difference. For that you need special tools, dial tools, to show any elevations. But again, the idea is there is a chance that you can get inconsistent grind size. Some particles will be small, some of them will be high. So yeah, so in order to prevent that, I don't recommend customers to open the upper bore carrier. I tell them, okay, you can take this lid out. You can use vacuum cleaner to clean the coffee between them. No need to actually open them. Okay, so this is about how unstuck the grind, the jamming. When jamming happens, how can you unstuck it, and how you should operate the grinder in order to minimize it. So don't go too fine without running the burrs. And another thing you might consider, cleaning this area between your shots. For example, you can use small brush to clean this area. Sometimes coffee compacts there. You can take this out. You can see the burrs seem clean, but still nothing come out. So maybe this area is blocked. And sorry, in your grinder, it has a screen, so you can open the screw from on the bottom. There's one screw, and you can rotate and take the cup out, so you will have access to, you will see the declamper, or you can actually take it out and you can see real time how it works. So why not? You can do this experiment, and don't worry, it will not violate your warranty. That's fine. And yeah, okay, now let me go to 0 point. So 0 point means it's a distance between the burrs is 0. So when you rotate to clockwise direction, so again, the lower one goes up. If you keep turning clockwise direction, eventually that lower one will reach to upper burr. So once it touches the upper one, it will make that metal chip noise. So at this point, you will stop and you will go back a little bit, and it will be the 0 point. So 0 point basically means the minimum distance between the burrs. So from there, you can go different numbers. So it's a kind of point of reference for you. So in your grinder, you have the numbers on the bottom, which shows the actual numbers. So if you rotate it to clockwise direction, once you reach the 0 point, slow down and rotate a little bit. Once you hear that sound, stop there, go back a little bit, and that number will be the 0 point. And again, in your grinder, there is a 0 point here, and that 0 point should align with the pointer. Yeah, it's real simple, and it's something that every grinder has that zero calibration, regardless the brand or model. And please review this video, and if you still need that, it's not clear for you or you need more information, we can schedule time and we can make a video call. I can also walk through that in your grinder. We can do that as well. Okay, thanks so much for watching, and that's it.